Hi everyone, and welcome back to BeamNG Drive, where we have the Aussie. So here it is, looking pretty cool all in all. As always, the lights are ridiculously bright on inputs from automation to BeamNG. Some of them aren't working. For some reason the indicator lights on the front weren't detected. That's fine. Let's see how it sounds. Suitably very angry. And so this car has over 900 horsepower, but it does have a lot of driving assist, so I will see how it handles. So, certainly can move. It is fun to drive. Handles a lot better than my previous cars. Let's see how we do on the straight. Already at 120. 150, 160, 170, 180. Okay, I do need to slow it down. It does not want to turn at 180 miles per hour, not surprising. Ouch. Okay. Well, we learned it's fast. It does handle better. But I probably don't want to try and turn at nearly 200 miles per hour, which is good to know. So as normal, I'm going to take this around a bit, try and get a feel for it, and then I will meet you at time trial. See you there. Okay, so far the Aussie's been handling pretty well. It does struggle a little bit, even on slow turns, but still it is a lot easier to handle than, say, the Pebble, despite having nearly twice the horsepower, or over twice the horsepower of the original version of the Pebble. So I think I'm ready to take this around. So the automation test time was 2 minutes 08. I doubt I'll get that, but we'll see. And our best time so far has been 3 minutes on the dot. So let's see how we do. This does have a lot better braking than my earlier cars, which I like using. Now for the straight. Taking that corner around 90 to 100, which is really quite good for us. up taking that one a bit too wide. Okay, through the chicanes. Okay, last corner. Onto the straight. To 34.9. There we go. So, behind the automation time of 2:08, not surprising as ever, but we did smash our previous times there. We're at 30 full seconds ahead of the Pebble, and 26 seconds ahead of our best other time. It is really a lot easier to handle this one, I think largely due to the all-wheel drive. Just having that grip on the front tyres is really helping. And the fact that it can brake like nothing else we've put out really does make this track a lot easier. You can afford to be going a bit faster because you know you can bleed off that speed really quickly. So I'm really happy with how the Aussie's turned out. Really good car, and so let's hope that it sells really well. So now let's jump over to automation. I'll catch you guys there. Oh, welcome back to automation. And here is where we left off. The Quill and the Aussie are both in production. And so right now we've got not much to do but sit back and let time tick by. Okay, so we're at 1985 now. Arana and Delua have, well, Delua has banned leaded fuel. Arana's going to get around to it in 5 years. We're not worried about that. We are all up on ours. Minimum safety regulations are increasing, but I think ours is still doing just fine. In terms of sales, the cars are doing very well. Pebble is evening out about 8 million profit per month. Quill is making about 22 million profit per month. But we just had an issue in the inline factory. So there's a really, really high chance that people are going to discover this, and I would prefer not to lose any prestige. So I'm just going to do the full recall. It's going to cost us 3 million. We can easily eat that. Chips a little bit off of our reputation, but we've got plenty of reputation there. Since we are making huge amounts of money, I am just going to bump up our prestige advertising in several countries. It's going to give Arana a little bit of drivability advertising. So it's going to cost us quite a bit extra, but hopefully that will really push our market awareness in the categories that we're going for. Okay, so one of the engine factories has had an issue. It's going to cost us a little bit more to pay, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. We can easily eat that. The overall cost of the project is like 800 million, so an extra 40 million isn't too bad. Same with the four-seater factory, needs a bit extra, so let's just pay that in cash. Okay, there we go. The Quill has come out of its first facelift, as has its upgraded engine, and it's making 32 million in profit in the first month, so that's looking absolutely excellent. We have locked VVT. I believe VVT is the one that can go in the facelift versions. It's VVL that needs to go in the new family variant. We've also got adaptive suspension, as well as some luxury upgrades. So I think it's going to be well worth just jumping straight in on the Quill and giving it its next facelift. So this is going to be the 86 facelift. As normal, let's start things off with the engine. I'm not sure if there's a bug here or not. I just double checked. We have unlocked VVT, so variable valve timings, but the only option we have for it is none. So I really don't know what's going on there. Can't really do too much with the engine as it stands. We do have fancier fuels potentially available, but definitely for the budget version, I don't think this is really going to be worth it. I've just rejigged a few things to increase fuel efficiency a tad, but there's not really much we want to do. So in the car itself, I'm going over to basic cassette instead of a basic 8-track. There's not a huge amount of price difference between them, but it gives a healthy boost to the actual desirability of the car. Also going to go on to variable hydraulic, which again there's not much of a price difference, but does improve the drivability a fair bit. I can throw in assisted braking system. They don't really care one way or another, it doesn't make a big difference. But we may as well get some familiarity to it, since we're not going to be putting in a huge amount with this facelift. There's not really much changed there. I think that's fine. For the premium version, though, we should be able to do a little bit more. And I'm actually going to change away from luxury cassette to premium cassette. It's not that much of a difference in the actual fanciness of it, but there's a big difference in price. And they seem to, the premium market actually prefer it, and they are the bigger of the markets. Luxury market is still happy, so I think that's a fair trade. Going for ABS for them too. Now, I do want to try something. I am going to clone that car, and I am going to give it a new engine. So I'm going to clone the one that we've just edited, but I'm going to put in super leaded here. And still the premium, 91% of the premium market have that fuel available. And there's 10% we're losing. There's probably a 10% that we're already losing out of the cost of the damn thing. So I think that's going to be worth it. 94% of the luxury market can get it. So I think that's going to be worth it. And now we've got a lot more run to play with. I might be able to get a lot more out of this car. Even with rebalancing, they don't really seem to like that version much. So I'm just going to can that project, so they prefer it without the 98 run compared to with the 98 run. So for now I'm just going to leave that be. I don't think the engine size is really enough to justify doing all the fancy stuff. We're just, with a 2-litre engine, I think there's only so much that we can do. Okay, so onto the convertible option. I think I am actually going to split this. So I've been thinking about this for a while. I've got the convertible and the convertible premium. And I think I want those to be two different models. So this is going to be the CVP. It's got a cheaper and more expensive version of the regular car, and then the cheaper and more expensive version of the convertible. Let's tweak the cheaper version of the convertible. So with this one, we're just looking at the convertible. And we're wanting to have this with a decent score, but really looking to improve that affordability there. This is the real reason why I wanted to do this, because the convertible market itself is really quite happy just with standard interior and the basic 8-track. And that lets us jump the affordability up from 65% to 80%, so that's 15% more of the convertible market can afford this variant. I am going to put on ABS, so put on ABS on the rest, so that will save us sort of having overlapping research. So it's no longer counting as convertible premium, it's now decent convertible, and we're actually going to get some convertible budget out of that, which is quite nice. Only 30%. But still, it's better than nothing. And then this version is also then going to spill over into various other markets. So then we can have a look at convertible premium variant. Okay, we can just ignore the convertible market entirely here and just try and hammer this one as much as we can. And this is the convertible premium car that they desperately want. And so I think that's going to be probably quite a good balance. We are not getting all of the convertible premium market, around about 70% because of all the fancy stuff we've added. If they can't buy that, they can always go for the cheaper version of the convertible. Whereas this is really going to get us this market. And we're also getting into convertible luxury really, really well there. It's not a huge market right now. There is a bit of a market for it. And so we've now got this really top-of-the-line car. This handmade luxury cassette and hidden auto soft top. This is now a really top-of-the-line car. Probably going to be our most expensive car. So for now I'm going to leave this on medium 1. We will probably increase the size of this when we replace the Quill. So targeting 60 months on this. So let me cut down the funding and the pressure a fair bit and up the tooling quality, which brings down the price a tad. Not huge differences, but mainly what we're getting out of this facelift is that new chassis type, the convertible premium variant. So I'm going to get rid of the 98 run. There's no point continuing on with that. And I'm going to put in a QA facility because we keep on having issues with this particular factory. Yeah, and basically we're not doing anything with this engine. So we can just put everything into getting as good an engine as we possibly can. So there we go, brought up the process optimization and tooling, reliability, and slashed the funding and pressure to get us to 60 months as well. So hopefully no more issues with that. And now on to trying to balance the costs of this thing. Okay, so some very nice numbers once again. Looking at 5-year profits of 3.16 billion. The premium budget version, manufacturing for 8,000, selling for 16,000. The premium itself, manufacturing for 17,000, so it's more than twice as expensive to make, but we're selling at 28,000. The convertible really isn't too popular. I say it's not too popular. It's predicted to sell over 1,000 trims in the first year. But it's being manufactured at 7.41k, selling at 16,000. And our new big boy here, convertible premium, which is selling for 38.8 thousand, was the sweet spot. And that gives us 90% markup on that. And the predicted factory split is pretty well split between the 3 versions, just not really the convertible. I don't know why that is. We'll see if that actually pans out when it starts to actually sell. I'm guessing the people are just preferring to buy other variants. I don't see how people who are in the convertible market would be trying to buy this more expensive one, but we'll see. Either way, huge profits are coming in. And so let's go and continue. 240 million, 40 million of which is the new facility, so I think it's absolutely fine. We can take that easily. Get that paid, and that'll nicely lower taxes for this year. And well, next thing is going to be the release of the Aussie, so let's see how that goes. So there we go, the Aussie is out of the gate, selling 10 million in its first month, so compatible with the Pebble in terms of profits. Let's see how that goes. I particularly like the light sports variant. But we definitely should throw this into another facelift. So we're now in 1988, good year I was born. And so let's release a fancy variant for these. Start off with the Light Sports Premium. This is going to be the 88. This is our really fancy car, so let's pump this up to 98 run. So now we can put on VVT. I don't know why that was missing before, but may as well. In terms of the practical effect, that has big effects on the fuel economy, and we get a little bit of a boost in the engine performance there. Oh, there we go. What we've managed to do with the new fuel system is push this right up to over 1,000 horsepower. So this is our first engine over the 1,000 mark, and it's doing really well. It's also over 1,000 Newton meters of torque. It's seeming really good, and without making it that much more expensive either. Since we have changed the engine, we are going to have to balance this. Other competitors have come along, so I am going to improve the interior a little bit, just to try and balance that out. It's going to take a long time to research, but we've got traction and ABS. And so this one is very nicely hitting the Light Sports Premium market where we want it, as well as spilling over into things like supercar and hypercar. And very much the muscle market is loving this one. It's a pure light sports version then. And this one's going to stick with the 91 RON fuel. So this one just did a little bit tweaking, improved the horsepower a tad. Nothing too drastic. Improved the comfort a tad on this one. And they really like the traction aids, so I'll give them that. So this is getting 70% of the light sports market, so that's all seeming really good. In the convertible sport market, weren't really able to get the 98 RON fuel, so I've changed that over to the 91 engine. They still really like it. I just want to do an experiment. I'm going to clone Light Sports Premium and see if they actually prefer it with the other engine. They actually really do. So I think the low fuel availability is just really hurting us there. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to change over the Light Sports Premium to have that weaker engine. Then I'm going to go for an all-out fancy trim, really going for the sort of supercar market. So even with the weaker engine, still a really good light sports, super and hypercar. And I am going to use the fancy engine, but I'm going to put it in a convertible supercar. Actually, I want to have at least one car with the ridiculous engine in it. So this version really is a decent convertible supercar, as well as having super and hypercar variant options there. Yeah, so the Light Sports Premium is the better supercar and the better sports car, but the convertible sports version is the slightly better hypercar as well. So we're getting into these very high-end markets there. I've got to put this one into engineering and put in the leatherworks because we've got that handmade variant. Targeting 60 months on this one as well. And that lets us get the processing optimized a lot better, the reliability up. Not really changing the automation on the tooling very much. That's mostly because it's not making a huge difference. We do have handmade stuff now, so this is never going to be really suited for mass automation. I'm actually going to cheap out a little bit. The factory's hardly degraded at all, so we may as well skip out on that. It's still looking good on the factory for now. Targeting 60 months again. To let us raise the reliability and massively reduce the pressure, so we should get some nice familiarity with all of these new systems. Okay, now let's see how we can balance these. Okay, so current prices, we're looking like 1.8 billion in 5 years. The Light Sports Premium selling at 24,000, Light Sports at 17.9, Convertible Sports at 16, and Convertible Sports Super is at 28.9 thousand. So we've got a nice little spread there, but those are perfectly within the ranges of the affordability. So most of these markets should be able to afford them nicely. It looks like our factory is going to be quite busy, so let's sign those off. I really don't need a loan. Even with building new factories, we're still flush on money. Okay, so now let's let time tick through till the Quill Facelift is finished. So there we go. It is now 1991, and the final version of the Quill has completed engineering. It's already out the gates, making 44 million in its first month. The Aussie's happily ticking away, making just under 10 million consistently. It's a mix of the current batch and the pre-orders. Interestingly, although it was predicting that no one wanted to buy the regular convertible, that is actually what the factory is mostly being used for, so it's pretty interesting. And certainly we're getting some very, very good numbers there. But I do think that is the end of the line for the Quill. The body is getting old. It's normal. I like to stick to around a 15-year cycle. And it was brought out in 77, so it's currently 14 years old. So it seems like a good time to replace it. And we're going to need to completely redesign the engine. Our inline 4 2-litre just isn't really cutting it with these bigger cars that we've been producing. And we've got a whole load of extra tech come through. So we've got variable valve timings, as we've seen before. We've got all sorts of new architectures we can think about putting in. More luxury, including the CD, nice and fancy. So I think we can do a lot there. And just looking at this, I think we're going to let this tick over until the end of the year, when we unlock these 1995 bodies. Remember, we are ahead with our research. Mostly because some of these cars are looking really, really cool. Especially this line here, 3.0 meter wheelbase, multiple seat rows with the option of convertible in there as well. So I think that is going to be really, really good for us. So let's just advance time that a little bit. Well, remember, I'm just going to put a little bit more into research. We are earning stupid amounts of money, so we may as well try and push our research as far as we can. So there we go, end of 1991, and we have just ticked through enough to unlock the 1995 cars. So the whole great set of these. But for the design of the replacement of the Quill, I'm going to have to wait till next time, since that seems like a good place to stop there. I hope you've enjoyed. If you had, as always, like, comment, subscribe. And if you have any ideas of what we should be putting in the next car in terms of its engine, please do let me know. Remember, this is our general luxury car, not our sporty version, but we can still put in something interesting. And otherwise, I will see you all next time. Remember to have fun out there. Cheers.